This relationship philosophy, the one you keep hearing, "We were the right people, but the timing was all wrong," is not a tragic coincidence. It is one of the most intellectually dishonest phrases in modern dating, and it is a weapon used against men who value accountability. Always. It's not an unfortunate cosmic alignment. Think about the structure of that sentence for a moment. Right person, wrong time. It attempts to absolve the speaker, usually the woman, of any responsibility for the failure of the bond. It suggests that external fate, the cosmos, or some unknowable force intervened, preventing two otherwise perfect individuals from uniting. When a woman uses this phrase, she is performing emotional damage control, protecting her ego and her past choices from critical scrutiny. The fundamental truth that the phrase attempts to obscure is this: if you are truly the right person, then the time is immediately created, negotiated, or fought for. Your time, her time, their availability, these are products of decisions, not divine intervention. When you were designated the right person, wrong time, it means you were the man capable of providing the stability, resources, and genuine connection she intellectually knew she required. But emotionally, she was prioritizing another type of relationship entirely. You were positioned as the safety net, the dependable anchor that she recognized was valuable, but only desired when the thrill-seeking, chaotic, high-excitement phase of her life had run its course. This pattern is not about malicious intent. It is about psychological reality and the abundance mindset women experience during their peak years. During this period, her psychological mechanism is geared toward maximizing validation and experience. The men who fit the right person criteria, stable, committed, emotionally available, goal-oriented, often lack the immediate, visceral excitement or social validation that she is actively seeking. You represented a decision that required settling down, required sacrificing the constant influx of attention, and required focusing on building a shared future rather than maximizing her immediate social capital. That was a sacrifice she was unwilling to make during her window of maximum opportunity. Therefore, you were deemed right, meaning suitable for commitment. But the time was wrong, meaning her priorities were wrong for commitment. Before we dive deeper into the specific psychological mechanisms that drive this deception, tell me, where are you hearing this truth right now? Drop your city in the comments. Now let's deconstruct the specific psychology behind why wrong time is an essential self-deception for the woman who uses it. The use of this phrase serves two critical psychological functions for the woman. First, it manages cognitive dissonance. Second, it secures a desirable future option. She knows intellectually that she is making poor choices that do not serve her long-term goal, family, security. By labeling the stable man as the right person, wrong time, she creates a neat psychological compartment. The failure of the relationship is externalized. It wasn't her fault. It was the timing. This allows her to continue chasing fleeting excitement without accepting the long-term cost of her prioritization errors. The wrong time lie is far more comfortable. It's a psychological anesthetic. When a woman tells you this, she is placing you directly in her emotional investment portfolio as a high-yield, low-maintenance asset. She is signaling, I recognize your long-term value, and I want to keep you orbiting, accessible, and emotionally invested until I decide I need you. She doesn't want to burn the bridge entirely. The right person status is your golden handcuff. It's the lure that keeps you thinking that one day, when her elusive right time arrives, you will finally be rewarded for your patience and inherent quality. The man who accepts this lie becomes psychologically groomed for the role of the backup plan. He invests more time, waiting for her circumstances to change, effectively turning himself into an orbiter with elevated status. He maintains hope, and while he is waiting, she is continuing to exercise her peak dating options, experiencing the men who truly excite her without the burden of commitment. The context has fundamentally shifted. The woman who once rejected you for a bad boy musician or a high-flying, self-absorbed executive is now facing biological reality and the stark decrease in high-quality options. The stable, dependable man she placed on the shelf, the right person, wrong time, now appears incredibly attractive. Her priorities haven't necessarily transformed through genuine personal growth. They have strategically repositioned due to necessity. The irony is devastating. The moment the time becomes right for her is precisely the moment your value to her shifts from desired partner to essential resource. You are being chosen, not because she desires you specifically above all others, but because you are the safest, most stable port in her impending storm of biological and social scarcity. The woman who eventually settles for the man she previously deemed wrong time carries with her a deep, often subconscious sense of loss and grievance. She never achieved the idealized, passionate commitment with the man she truly desired, the one she prioritized during her peak. She will forever compare you, her provider and husband, to the excitement, the intensity, and the raw attraction she felt for the men of her past, the men she chose when time was abundant. That comparison creates resentment. She resents you for being too stable, too predictable, and lacking the chaos and excitement of her youth. She resents the fact that her biological clock forced her hand, making her choose stability over desire. The man who hears right person, wrong time needs to translate it honestly. You are the man I will accept when my options are gone, but right now I have better things to do than commit to you. That is the truth of prioritization. The moment a woman prioritizes you, the time instantly aligns. There are countless historical examples of women sacrificing careers, moving continents, or dropping less serious partners instantly when they encounter the man they genuinely believe is the one they must lock down. If she isn't making sacrifices for you, you are not the priority. You are the placeholder. If the connection is genuinely unique and powerful, the two parties find ways to maintain the connection, to actively nurture it through difficult circumstances, to keep the potential alive. The wrong time woman actively terminates the connection, demanding space or moving on to other partners, only to resurface years later when her circumstances demand external stability. You are witnessing a resource acquisition strategy driven by external pressure. The foundation of that subsequent commitment is built on need, not pure, unadulterated desire. Your protection against this lie lies in demanding accountability and observing historical patterns. Do not accept a framing that absolves her of choice. Her consequences should not become your burden, disguised as a glorious second chance. The goal here is not bitterness, but clarity. So, when you encounter this dynamic, recognize the lie for what it is, a narrative designed to manage your expectations and keep you available. We must establish a new standard for recognizing genuine commitment versus strategic necessity. You are now equipped with the fundamental knowledge. Timing is not fate. Timing is priority. That priority was placed elsewhere during her most valuable years, and that single fact dictates the success or failure of any future commitment. You have the truth. We need to solidify this understanding. This is how we anchor the realization that her past decisions define her present reality. We are building a community based on truth and clear understanding, and your engagement solidifies that foundation. We are moving past the lies, past the fluff, and into unshakable clarity. And in the next part of this series, we are going to expose the 5 specific ways women weaponize emotional distance and scarcity to manipulate men into accepting the role of the settlement option. The truth you just learned is only the beginning. We've all heard the line, "You were the right person, but it was the wrong time." It sounds philosophical, maybe even romantic. It gives the illusion of tragedy, a cruel twist of fate preventing two souls from uniting. But I am going to rip that comfortable lie away from you right now. It is the most calculated, self-serving piece of relationship rhetoric in modern dating. This lie is never about time. It is always about priority, and more importantly, it is about your perceived value relative to her current options. The psychological damage inflicted by this seemingly benign phrase is immense, leaving men confused, holding on to false hope, and often internalizing the idea that they are inherently good but perpetually unlucky. That internalization is precisely what she wants you to feel. Before we dissect the cold mechanics of this fundamental deceit, tell me where you are locking in this reality right now. We are creating a global community of men who prioritize pattern recognition over emotional delusion, and your contribution proves the reach of this essential truth. The lie of the wrong time is fundamentally about misdirection. She is talking about her peak relationship marketplace valuation and her hypergamous drive. When a man is rejected with the RPWT, "You were the right type of man for a stable future," but she was still chasing the thrill, the status, or the excitement offered by men she considered higher value, even if those men were unwilling to commit. Let's be precise about what the time actually represents in her psychological framework. Her prime time, her biological peak, her 20s and early 30s, is the period when she has the highest selection power. Her time is dedicated to pursuing those short-term relationships and high-thrill experiences because her marketplace position dictates she can. To choose you, the stable, reliable, good man, would mean prematurely ending her period of sexual market dominance. The wrong time excuse is therefore a courtesy discharge. It is the verbal equivalent of setting you aside gently, like a sensible pair of shoes she will need later, but not the exciting stilettos she wants to wear tonight. A high-value man who is genuinely desired is a resource that a woman will lock down and prioritize immediately, regardless of a busy career or personal chaos. She will integrate him into her life, because the fear of losing that specific desirable person overrides all other considerations. The cognitive dissonance inherent in the RPWT phrase is monumental, and understanding it is key to protecting yourself. The truth is too damaging to her self-image. To admit she is prioritizing shallow excitement or non-committal high-status men over a man of good character would require her to confront her own shallowness or hypergamous calculus. Lie allows her to maintain the noble narrative. She is a good person who recognized your greatness, but fate intervened. She becomes the tragic romantic heroine, not the self-interested player. If the time was wrong, the choice wasn't wrong, and her ego remains intact. This externalization is crucial for women who have extensive relationship histories because it prevents accountability. She needs to justify why she is now turning to the stable men she rejected years ago, the RPWT. It claims, "I always knew you were good, but I was focused on my career, growth, travel, the wrong time. Now that I've completed my journey, the right time, I am ready to accept the stability you offered. You were just waiting in the queue until her biological clock started screaming and her market options narrowed." The most insidious element of the RPWT. When she tells you that the timing is wrong, she rarely closes the door completely. She offers vague promises about the future. Maybe someday, if things were different, or let's keep in touch. These non-committal statements are not genuine hopes. They are breadcrumbs designed to keep you emotionally invested and available. You become an emotional orbiter. She knows that a decent, stable man is a valuable resource that is difficult to replace. If the high-status man she is currently chasing fails to commit, or if she crashes into the wall sooner than anticipated, she has the right person, conveniently waiting in the wings, ready to provide comfort, resources, and commitment without having to restart the arduous dating process. The man, paralyzed by the lie, believes he needs to merely wait for the circumstances to align. He mistakenly believes his value is high, but his luck is low, rather than recognizing that his desirability for commitment was simply insufficient to overcome her immediate self-interest. He stops actively seeking a genuine connection because he's attached to the fantasy of the woman who saw his goodness, but was blocked by fate. He invests time, energy, and hope into a promise that was never real. And when she eventually returns years later in her "I'm ready now" phase, demanding instant commitment, he is often so relieved to finally be chosen that he overlooks the fact that he is being settled for, not chosen enthusiastically. He has become the lifeboat for her sinking reproductive and marketplace value. We must also look at the impact of extensive relationship history on the ability to recognize true stability later in life. When she finally settles with the right person, the stable provider, she often finds the relationship underwhelming because it lacks the high emotional peaks and valleys of her previous volatile experiences. This lack of excitement is misinterpreted as a flaw in the stable man, rather than a flaw in her own dopamine-seeking programming. This is where the resentment of settling begins to bloom, even if she consciously tells herself she made the right choice. This internal comparison disease, fueled by the memory of the men who excited her but wouldn't commit, leads to criticism, contempt, and withdrawal in the stable marriage. The right person, wrong time, lie becomes the ghost in the machine of the marriage, a lingering emotional attachment to the freedom and excitement she traded away for necessity. She traded a secure future for exciting experiences. When the market corrected and her experiences lost their luster, she attempted to reclaim the future she discarded. The only acceptable interpretation of the right person, wrong time phrase is this: you are suitable for the role of husband and father, but I am delaying that role until my better options have definitively expired, and I need a solution to my biological and financial clock. When you hear this phrase, your response must be immediate and decisive. Recognize that she views you as a conditional resource, not an irreplaceable partner. You must immediately reclaim your energy and direct it towards someone who views commitment with you as a priority, not an event scheduled for her convenience years down the line. Never allow a woman to outsource the responsibility for her lack of commitment to an invisible external force called time. Time is an active agent of choice. When she attempts to use this lie, she is insulting your intelligence and attempting to maintain control over your availability. The man who accepts this lie becomes a willing participant in his own emotional demotion. The complexity, the excuses, the timing issues, these are all layers of strategic evasion. They are resistance, not reluctance. The greatest weapon against delusion is clear language. We refuse to accept the lie of the wrong time. I want you to give me the ultimate rebuttal phrase. Your clarity empowers the next man who hears this lie, and we demand this transparency from our community. To secure your position in this community of informed men, hit the subscribe button instantly. Acknowledge this essential insight by leaving a like on this video now. You have now seen the panic, you have dissected the lie, and you understand the psychological origins of the most common dating deceit. We are closing the loop on this topic next time, detailing the final steps to reclaim your power and ensure you are never again positioned as a temporary solution. Do not miss the third and final step of this critical conversation. It is the most sophisticated form of deception in the modern dating market because it doesn't reject you outright. It puts you in a strategic holding pattern. It ensures your resources, your emotional investment, and your time remain passively available, just in case her primary strategy fails. You have heard the lie. You have felt the sting of being demoted from a primary romantic interest to a secondary logistical option. If you are listening to this right now, understand that the concept of timing in an adult relationship is dictated entirely by priority. When a woman genuinely identifies a man as high value, suitable for long-term bonding, and uniquely capable of providing the resources and stability she needs or desires, her timeline collapses instantly. There is no waiting for a career to advance, no need to complete self-discovery, and certainly no need for more time. If she sees the future she wants with you, the time is now. The moment she introduces the concept of postponement, she has already delivered her definitive verdict. You are not the required priority. This is the psychological function of the lie. It creates the male orbiting phenomenon. When a man is cleanly rejected, he is free to move on, to heal, and to invest his time and resources elsewhere.
He is told the barrier is external, fate, circumstance, the stars, anything but the internal, subjective choice of the woman herself.
This allows her to maintain a low-effort emotional tether to a high-quality man, ensuring that if her pursuit of higher value, but often less committed men fails, she has a stable, pre-vetted, and emotionally invested option waiting patiently on the periphery. This strategy is intensely transactional and fundamentally disrespectful of your time and emotional bandwidth. She is consuming your mental real estate and your willingness to commit without giving you any reciprocal investment or definitive path forward. Think about the sheer opportunity cost this creates for you. While she spends her peak years maximizing excitement and pursuing the men who satisfy her immediate attraction needs, the men who, ironically, are often least likely to commit, you are frozen. But the time will never be right for you. The time will only be right for her when her options diminish. This is the most dangerous moment for any man. Because when the woman who gave you the RPRT excuse reappears in her late 30s or early 40s, the same woman who dismissed your stability and commitment years earlier, she is not coming back because she suddenly recognized your intrinsic worth. She is coming back because the calculus of her life has changed, and the market forces have finally caught up to her. Her high-value, exciting options have either married younger women or have ceased to view her as a viable long-term partner due to the declining fertility and social capital we discussed previously. Her social capital is depreciating. And suddenly, the stability, the reliability, and the foundational goodness you offered years ago, the very qualities she described as wrong time, become the only qualities that can solve her imminent crisis. The right time she now claims to have found is merely the desperation time. You are not being chosen. You are being utilized. The tragedy here is that the man often feels validated. He thinks, she finally realized my value. And this marriage, built on strategy rather than genuine priority, is poisoned from the start. Resentment is the guaranteed consequence of settling. She knows she had to turn to the safety net, you, after failing to secure the man who truly captivated her during her peak years. That internal conflict, the dissonance between the fantasy man she pursued and the reality man she married for logistics, will manifest as chronic dissatisfaction, criticism, and distance. She will criticize your income, your fitness, your career, not because these things are truly inadequate, but because she is projecting her own disappointment in her outcome onto you. Your stability will be redefined as boring, and the memory of the wrong time will morph into the lifelong regret of settling. This brings us to the definitive conclusion and the iron law you must engrave into your understanding of modern relationships. Never accept being someone's wrong time. Do not argue, do not explain, and absolutely do not agree to remain friends or passive support. You must sever the emotional and communicative tie instantly. My time is precious. If I am not a priority now, I will never be an option later. First, you protect your emotional resources from passive consumption. Second, you demonstrate a level of self-worth that is often the single most attractive quality to a woman, the willingness to lose her completely rather than be kept in reserve. Your mission is not to wait for her right time. Your mission is to establish a life, a purpose, and a presence so magnetic that any woman who rejected you based on timing must live with the knowledge of what she forfeited. Build your world so successfully that the woman who sees you 5 years later will recognize that she didn't just pass up a good man, she missed the trajectory of a successful one. If you are currently waiting, stop. The woman who respects you and truly desires a future with you does not negotiate timing. She creates space. She clears the deck. The culture has normalized this lie because it benefits unstable relationship patterns. It allows women to postpone commitment without losing future options, and it keeps men compliant and hopeful. You deserve a relationship defined by shared enthusiasm and mutual, immediate priority. You deserve to be the first choice, not the last resort. The moment you accept the wrong time lie is the moment you accept a subservient position in the relationship market. The moment you reject that lie is the moment you reclaim your sovereign power over your own life and your own timeline. It is time to choose action over passive hope. And it is time to choose partners who view your presence not as a challenge to their current independence, but as the essential, immediate foundation for their desired future. We are establishing an essential community here, a place where men exchange uncomfortable truths for undeniable clarity. Now, I want to hear your voice, and I want to know where this message is landing. Let me know your city and state right here in the comments. We are building a global cohort of men dedicated to pattern recognition. If this revelation, that the RPRT excuse is a strategic lie, has saved you time, energy, or heartbreak, I want you to plant a definitive marker in the sand. Drop the phrase, "Time is priority," in the comments section below. By declaring that truth, you reinforce the pattern and signal to other men that they are not alone in their clarity. This is the place where we transform frustration into focused, decisive action. Smash the like button on this video right now to signal your commitment to truth, and activate that subscribe button and the notification bell. You are investing in your future self, protecting your resources, and ensuring that you receive the information designed to keep you ahead in this chaotic dating landscape. Next week, we are diving deep into a subject that reveals the subtle manipulations high-demand women use to test your boundaries and erode your self-worth. You are going to discover the exact language and emotional strategies used to make men question their own reality. Make sure you are subscribed. You do not want to be unprepared for what's coming next. Wear it well,